this Monday night, we're sending you back to the podcast.
Oh, jeez, hey.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Josh Zagato. This is my sister, Glenn Zagato. We got Beetlejuice 2, Quentin Tarantino. But first, let's talk about Cobra Kai. As we talked about this before. It's a little confusing. So, Cobra Kai producers John Hurwitz and Hayden Schlossberg were asked how they felt after Netflix told them season 6 would be their last season. They answered with, Netflix didn't tell us it was the last season. We told them it was the last season. We always wanted to end it, Cobra Kai, on our own terms, and we're grateful we have the opportunity to do so. So apparently they originally planned for minimum 6 seasons with a possibility of more if they needed it. They have 2 shows they're working on right now. One called Obliterated on Netflix, and a Ferris Bueller TV show, and then the whole Karate Kid movie.
So they are working on the movie?
No, Sony's working on the movie. That's what's still unclear. But they said it won't be the end of the Miyagi-verse universe. Miyagi-verse. Ooh. Whatever the fuck that means.
Miyagi-verse. Wow.
So they're claiming this is what they always plan. I don't know. They said minimum 6 seasons.
Yeah.
And now it's officially 6 seasons. So I don't know. It still seems Sony has a hand in it. But at least they always prepare for this many seasons. But it still feels, if that season feels rushed, I'm going to be annoyed.
You feel, but okay. Well, I hope not. Was the last season, it didn't feel rushed?
No. I'm just saying the next one feels rushed. I'm going to feel annoyed. Because sometimes it happens, you get the last season, even like Breaking Bad, the last season was planned and it felt rushed.
Yeah. Well, you think so? I don't know if it felt rushed.
Yeah, because like
they actually split the season in half.
Yeah, which was annoying too. It's like just finish it down. I hate when they do that. Attack on Titan.
The one that rushed it was Game of Thrones. That was a rushed ending.
That was way more rushed because that show was notorious for being slow paced, and then all of a sudden, like you could tell they wanted to do other stuff. Like travel was quick all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason I say Breaking Bad was rushed is because the whole thing that started at the ending of the show was Hank finding the book in the toilet. It was like that was so lazy. That was lazy writing. That's the best they could come with. His eureka moment was finding a book in the toilet.
Clever.
It's not clever.
It was
great. Lazy. It's lazy as hell. It's like stupid.
Lazy.
It's like it's time in the show, so he's just gonna have this book in his toilet that Hank's gonna read. Like, okay.
And so, what would you? Why is that bad? I think that those coincidences in life are great.
That's not that.
It's not
the
lazy.
show
I think
is,
when it's forced.
The show's so renowned for its clever writing. That wasn't clever. It was just like, okay, whatever.
Okay, I disagree. And they split it in half. Did you watch?
Yeah, I hate that shit.
Better Call Saul.
Yeah, I didn't finish. I don't think I finished the last season.
Oh, that was really good. I think that was a very complete. I would say I wanted more, but it was very complete.
It's a good show, but just kind of like feels pointless at times.
I don't know. It touches to the present day, so it goes through kind of what he goes through with Breaking Bad, and then it kind of does like a time jump, and then you're like where he, how they show little clips of where he's at in the beginning of each season. So then the final maybe 2 episodes is like just takes place there, like present day where he ends up. It's pretty good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Quentin Tarantino. He's finally officially finished his 10th script. It's going to be called Movie Critic. It's going to be set in the late 70s and features a female lead. And I'm kind of worried about the 70s thing. I didn't like the last movie.
70s again?
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be about a movie critic, so it's going to be about Hollywood again. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. This is going to be the last one, though. Sequel to Kill Bill. This is it.
That would have been great. Kill Bill 3.
Yeah, that's what they should do. The daughter come for revenge against Uma Thurman. That would be dope.
Hell yeah. That would be nice.
Who's Uma's daughter? She's in Stranger Things. She can act as she actually looks like her daughter.
Oh, fuck yeah. That would be cool.
Dope. But we're getting a movie about a movie critic. Go ahead.
Have they not? Has anyone ever talked to him? I'm sure they have, but do you know of any interviews where they've asked him about a Kill Bill 3 and like what his response is?
They're both always like it's possible.
He says it's possible.
Before this came out,
Well,
yeah.
but do you think, does he consider, because Kill Bill is volumes, right? Does he consider that one?
I thought you told me he considers it one movie, just cut into two parts.
So then he might still be doing a 3. Why not? It's
Oh,
one
it's like
book.
one story, like the he does
Right,
he does cop outs, yeah, he does
because he does cop outs and he considers films like books. That's why he writes them in chapters. So maybe the book, it didn't feel complete, but like there could be more. I mean, you have a scene where a guy where she tells a daughter, you can, I forget the line
if
exactly,
she
but
wanted to
basically
come.
says,
Oh, the other daughter,
yeah,
yeah, if you wanted to,
yeah, the other daughter. I feel like
yeah, that'd be
that's
too. That'd be cool.
inviting another story. And when you're writing, when you write something, a line like that, you call it back. So there's an opportunity.
Yeah, I know. I think they're in good terms now, but he wasn't at good terms with Uma for a while either because
Yeah.
she got injured on the set and whatnot. It's kind of being a dick, but I think they made up.
I hope so. I think he's changed from what I heard from, because he never wanted to get married. He's married. He's a father now. So I hear that he's different. So, I mean, I think also the rumor was is that I don't know if he still is, but he was like a very intense director, and like, I guess that's the issue with Uma is that it's one of those things where it's like anything for the price of art. So.
How does a movie about a movie about a movie critic sound?
Good question. I guess I didn't want to address that. That sounds kind of not interesting.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's because
But
it's in the movie about Hollywood in the '70s. Basically, it's a movie critic.
but I mean that doesn't give me the plot. I don't know. I guess it
Yeah,
depends. I don't know. It depends.
I'm curious because at first I'd be like, okay, he's gonna make fun of movie critics, but probably not. Since it's a female lead and likes female badasses, I don't think it's gonna be
Yeah.
that.
I don't think it's
Yeah,
gonna be that. But I guess I don't know the plot, so I don't know. I'll watch it. I'm sure I'll
yeah, I'm
be at
curious
the
about the
movies for
plot
it.
too. I mean, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
everyone watches this 10th film.
Yeah.
It's.
But I mean, I remember when he made the Hateful Eight and how that was just this big thing and like a private script, and I'll never release it. And then he did release it, and I'm not sure it's one of my favorites, but you know what I mean? So I don't know.
Hateful Eight's one of his best films, though that has
Really?
plot. It has plot holes at the. Yeah, it's really well made, except for this.
Maybe I gotta watch it again. I actually went to like a private reading with him when he wasn't gonna make
Oh
it a
wait! You
movie.
talk about the Hateful Eight.
Yeah. I'm
I was
surprised
thinking. I
that's
don't know
what
why I
you.
was thinking of the Glorious Bastards.
Oh,
Hateful Eight's good.
Inglorious
Yeah, never mind.
Bastards is amazing. That's
Yeah, my
probably
bad. I
one
was
of
like,
his best
yeah, I don't know why I
films.
was thinking you said Glorious Bastards. Like, wait a minute.
I know. I was
Uh,
actually surprised. I was like, "Oh wow, you
no,
like Hateful Eight?"
Hateful Eight's good, but it's like a play. It's like watching a
Yeah, I
play.
don't think it's bad. I just don't know if the way he hyped it up or the way it was hyped. Maybe he didn't hype it up. It seemed like it was going to be like the best film he had ever made.
No, it's
I
a
think
character study.
I know that his favorite is Once Upon a Time
I know.
in Hollywood. I actually can see why that's his favorite. Yeah, obviously we all like. I think I like his films for different reasons, and I think Pulp Fiction really and Inglourious Bastards are up there together. Probably, I don't know. And then Reservoir Dogs is so good. I could see why he loves it, though. I think, I see why people don't like it. But it was good. There are a lot of good moments. I think it's hard to do what he does, and he uses. Oh my gosh, and Django was good. I guess I like
Django is so good.
Yeah.
But since we're speaking about over the top directors who've changed, uh, what's his name? Tim
Who
Burton.
changed? Is that what you said?
Over the top directors that have changed for the better. So
Oh, okay.
we saw the Tim Burton and Jenna Ortega how good they got along. We remember we mentioned
Yeah.
Beetlejuice and how they're not that movie's been in production for whatever for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, finally, Jenna Ortega is reportedly
Gigi, it's not in production. It's just a
not
rumor.
production. No, it's yeah, no. This will say it was never going anywhere until now. because she's reportedly in
Nice.
negotiations for a role in Tim Burton's Beetlejuice 2, according to the Hollywood Reporter. Sources claim Ortega's will be sought to star as the daughter of Winona Ryder, Lydia from the 1988 original. It's also
Fuck
claimed the
yeah.
production is planned to begin in May or June this year, with Tim Burton expected to have and Michael Keaton set to return. So I think that's a little spark he needed, and obviously when you Michael Keaton's has had a comeback, but Jenna Ortega's fire right now. So they loved working together. You get those two together, you can greenlight a movie finally, get something going.
Uh,
I think he's like
hell yeah.
she's like amused to him, so
I'm amused, stupid.
it
Yeah.
makes me less wary for a sequel because he's inspired by her to see another
Yeah.
Beetlejuice movie. And she'd be
Yeah.
good for Lydia's daughter.
Oh, hell yeah. That sounds amazing.
They need to throw out the
That
whole
sounds
Hawaii
cool.
script that they had originally for the sequel. I don't know what that was
Oh,
about,
no.
but I
Yeah.
don't give a
No,
shit
no,
about
no. No.
that.
No. Let's make it darker and cool.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be hard. I have a feeling maybe it's just gonna be like one of those rehashes, though. That's the only thing I worry about. Like the new Star Wars. It's basically the same movie from the original Star Wars. It's like you just reuse the same story.
I don't
Gonna be the
know. I think,
daughter. Beetlejuice comes, tries to marry her. Blah blah. It's the same fucking story.
oh, well, maybe that. Maybe that. I don't know. I don't know. I hope that they don't lean into the obvious. Um, I feel like Lydia and Jenna Ortega's character as her daughter, um, I feel like it would be better if they, I don't know. I'm envisioning it in a certain way in my head, but it could be interesting if they got along and it's more about their relationship, but in a different way than the way she was with her mom, you know? Maybe Lydia tries too hard because there's no that she didn't have a connection with her mom, you know. Oh my gosh, and how cool would it be if they brought Catherine uh
O'Hara.
back, O'Hara
Yeah,
back? Yeah.
she's still acting. That'd be great.
She's still acting. She's
She just got
amazing.
off a big time show. What was the Schitt's Creek? So
Schitt's Creek. Yeah.
actually, yeah.
And
But
she's so eccentric.
she would be cool too because she changed at the end of the movie. So one of the best
Hmm.
things about that movie is the characters. Everybody's so unique and interesting.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
they would have to introduce new characters that are like that. Because obviously Lydia, you would assume should be cool with her daughter, like you said, and Catherine O'Hara would be cool because she changed. So you have to introduce conflict in new characters besides Beetlejuice. So it would be
Yeah.
interesting.
I just hope it's subtle conflict or conflict that's done and written well because sometimes when they try too hard, the whole like, I don't like my mom and like it just
I
feels
don't
too
think, yeah,
obvious.
yeah, I don't think they'll
You
go,
know,
but they could, yeah, I don't know. I,
they could. I'm hoping it's more that they
I
actually
mean,
really get along and maybe
yeah,
something happens, you know?
because that's the thing
It,
he did in Wednesday, and it wasn't. That was one of the few things about Wednesday that wasn't good. The conflict between her
exactly.
and her
Yeah.
mom
Yes.
was not
Exactly.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chemistry was a
Exactly.
part of that, so I don't know. Maybe it'll be better in Beetlejuice, but yeah, I don't want. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so but I Wednesday was good, and he's clearly they like each other. She's definitely amused to him, so I'm excited for once about Beetlejuice 2 talks.
Yeah. I'm excited.
IG,
Fuck yeah.
tell us your thoughts of
Uh,
the Last of Us. Now that it's over, you've seen it all.
oh man. Oh, I mean it. So I only got like 5 minutes into the game, so I really didn't know where it was going. I thought it would be more monster driven, I guess. I didn't know what to expect, or maybe like Walking Dead, where they're in one community a whole season. I honestly didn't know, and I only know what I've seen before. So seeing that it really was these vignettes of stories of people they meet along the way was I think that's hard to do because that means every single time you introduce a new town and new people, you've got to cast people that are really good. And every single time it was powerful. Like introducing new people is not an easy thing to do, and the fact that when they went and met the brother and his or the guy that was taking care of his deaf brother, and that was powerful, and they were, and that whole scene was powerful, and I cried. And then you go into another community and then you're moved by him being with his brother, and then you go to another, and it's just like I think it's very Game of Thrones in that way when you were saying how they showed travel in the last two seasons like instantly. but they showed here that travel is not easy, and you come across all these things and meet different people. And just they built that relationship between Pedro's character Joe and is it Elle?
Ellie.
Ellie. It seems so organic, like what we were just saying, not the typical I hate my dad stuff. It was like sometimes they get along and sometimes they didn't, because in real life it goes up and down, and sometimes he would make her life, she would make him laugh, with her little jokes, and sometimes he was a complete asshole, and somehow through that it was believable that they needed and loved each other. So in the end, when he makes that choice and she knows he's lying, because he suddenly starts talking about his daughter, which he never did. And I think that was a sign of like, he's accepting that she is his daughter now, and she knew it was different. And, she's not a dumb kid. She's smart. And why is she in a gown? Why is everybody else dead and not her? And why, I'm sure things didn't add up for her. And as far as the choice he made, it's kind of like, and I hear this happens in the game too, right? The same choice, and he lies, and it kind of ends like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like it's such a great moral question to ask, as far as like, what would you do? Obviously, as a parent, I would have fucking done the same thing. And you just like, your brain goes somewhere else. Like, how can you just be logical at that moment? He's already lost his daughter. I would not want to go through that twice, and who knows, maybe, I don't know, maybe I would make the right choice and save everybody. I think the big thing for me though is that she didn't know. I would say at least tell her. And yeah, I know that her response would have been like, save the people. Oh God, it was all so deep. Like, yeah, she's right. Why have this cure and then kill her probably first kiss girlfriend or whatever, her best friend at least, and all the things she went through would be for nothing if they didn't at least use her to try to cure the situation. It's just so hard. It's so hard.
So the slight differences for the ending in the game to the show. In the game, when you're playing it, in the show, they have this very specific way that they're going to extract the cure, right? He goes into detail how they're going to get it. In the game, that's not in there. They just say they're going to figure out a cure by dissecting. They're like, that's not how cures work. You need your test subject alive and do multiple tests to find a cure. So it wasn't as hard of a choice in the game. And the other difference is, in the game, you actually don't have to shoot the doctor. You can just save her from the doctors. Most people chose to shoot the doctors. So that's actually something you do.
What did you choose?
Oh, I shot his ass. But you don't have to in the game. So that's something that they put on the player.
In the game, does she know?
So let me get to that. So
does she? Okay.
But in the show, at least it made it a harder choice, because he specifically said how we're going to get a cure, which makes it a harder choice. Yes, so it's the ending is pretty much exactly the same. You can tell she kind of knows he's lying, but doesn't want to believe it, and she wants ignorance is bliss, so she kind of accepts it, but deep down she knows, but she doesn't know, but does know, those kind of things. So yeah, it's pretty much the same ending on that front with the girl at the end, the firefly, and yeah.
It's interesting because I would have chosen, like, would you have been smarter about it? Like the way and maybe it was a smart choice because he is a physical person. But when they said we have her in the operating room, I would have played it cool, like, okay, can I go see or something? He like immediately starts fighting, and he got lucky that they said take him outside to get killed, and then that helped him.
So that's the issue I had with this season. So you said it felt slower in travel. I felt it felt rushed because
interesting.
Because that scene felt rushed, and then the whole story felt rushed because it didn't feel like they traveled long. Because in the game, there's a lot. they could have had so many spooky and creepy encounters with
Mhm.
the clickers. There's so many scenes in that game where you have to travel through buildings and do this and that, and it's scary and freaky, which could have been in the show. And they really only had the clickers in that one last episode where the big
Yeah,
one came out, and that was it. It was like, wow,
yeah.
boring. Like they're just
I was
cutting straight to
surprised
the
too.
beats. Like, but they could have expanded a bit more with this clicker. There's really cool, scary stuff with those clickers that they could have had. And then there's crazy stuff with just people who are evil out there because they're like raiders and stuff like that. That they could have been part of the show. Maybe it's not really adding to the story, but it shows how hard it is to travel to get across
Yeah,
state. And I didn't feel like it really was as hard as
that's
they're
interesting.
saying because they skipped all that. They kind of just jumped to the main story beats and kind of skipped how haunting it is to get to those just to get to another bad part. So I didn't
Yeah,
like that. And just like you said at the ending, because I thought the show started strong, but then it kind of got weak for me because of that. And then at the ending, yeah, that's kind of a rush where he doesn't play it smart. And I didn't like how they put the montage of music. So it kind of killed the how hard it was for him to even get to her because you're fighting these fireflies, one person
oh,
versus these
that
guys
was
are
cool.
heavily armed. But I felt
Yeah.
it didn't feel that as intense as it does in the game because they just put a montage over it with sappy music and he's just taking everybody out. It didn't even make him look like John Wick. I just didn't like the choice of music and the way they did with the montage. Like it
Oh,
should
I
have
like that.
been, they should have cut the music off and show how hard he tried to get to her, and not like a badass, but like a human, like Die Hard or something where you're getting beat up, but you make it there to save her. And I thought they robbed it from that with just the he was just so quick. He just took down the whole fireflies in that building so quick with a cheesy song montage. Like I hated that. Like no,
Hmm.
it was intense in the
Interesting.
game. Like it should have been intense for me anyway. I didn't like that at all.
I guess for me, I felt like I and I might be wrong. I felt like maybe they had to make that choice because it was a little bit like Dexter's last season where you see the cutting and you see the blood. You saw the new Dexter, right?
Yeah.
Dexter New Blood.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like if we had seen all that, it would have been way too. It would have made him look too villainy, And I think, and
Not if
maybe
he's
they tried.
losing. Not if he's losing. If they show how hard it was. It's one
You're
guy versus like
saying,
an army of fireflies, and he's just John Wick taking out everybody. But the music, I didn't like the music choice for it. Like it just didn't feel the
oh
intensity of how
man,
hard it
okay.
was to get to there.
I loved it. It made me emotional. I felt the weight of what he was going through. I didn't play the game, so I guess maybe there's something that some weight or to it that it would have had if they had done that. I guess I saw it as like maybe they tried that and it was too real and made him look too dark, and you don't want to, the thing is you don't
I
want to
think you would
hate
root
your
for him
hero.
more if it's like you see him like glass shattering on him and all this stuff.
Oh, you're saying if he was losing a little along the way,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, but then do you think people might argue that, oh, that's unbelievable. How did he get up? And
No, it's more believable
like
the way they did it. That he's just John Wicking everybody. Like, what do you mean?
you're saying they did a John Wick cut of it.
Well, John Wick would have better music to it, but yeah, I mean, but with sappy
Yeah,
music,
but I mean they can't add that. This is not a fun moment.
yeah, but the
John
music,
Wick is a
it's
action.
just.
Well,
Well, he
I
was
feel
he was killing everybody like he's John Wick though, but it wasn't even
yeah, but I
presented in a
think
cool
John
way.
Wick is intentionally. He's not playing a dad. You can hate him.
Well, even
He
John
can
Wick
be a killer.
takes hits though. Like this dude wasn't taking any hits. It's just like it was so easy. It's
Yeah,
just
I
knocking
just
everybody
don't
out.
think I think that the genres are different, so their tone has to be different. They can kill the same way, but tonally they have to be different. But you're right. Maybe he needed to lose a little bit more and see the pain of and how much he fought to get that through that. I don't know. I do believe in seeing different versions of things. So yeah, maybe that would have worked better. It worked for me, but I didn't see how hard it was in the game and how real and painful that is. As far as the speed, do you think, I guess because I didn't know the other stuff, I felt it was slower, but do you think that now that they get us another, because I feel like first seasons, they only give them so much. It's kind of like a test to see if they do well. And now that they see it's doing really well, that they'll fully invest in the second season to get those moments and take their time a little bit more.
I don't know. I didn't play the second game, so I'm
Okay.
assuming they're
Well, you
they're
gotta play it.
talking now. They're talking about how they can get multiple seasons and whatnot, but it's like, well, they only have one story left now because they rushed through it. So they could have. I mean, now what are you gonna do? Because he's I think he wants the games to be ahead than the show. So is it gonna be a 3 year hiatus or what's gonna happen? She needs to be a little bit older in the games in the shows. I don't know.
What part is longer in the game? Which town?
It's not so much it's not so much that, it's just like the journey, it feels like a long journey because the obstacles they put in front of you. And it's
Yeah.
an opportunity for the show to see those clickers and to be
Yeah.
intimidated by them, and they have to go through dark because these buildings have no power and they're there. You
Yeah.
got the regular ones, you got the
You wanted the
and they made a
horror a
big
little
deal
bit.
about the clickers, that they share the same membrane. So one here they only did it once though when they you put it
Yeah.
one here. And I thought,
Yeah.
I
I
don't know.
wonder if it was a money thing. Maybe it
Like
was a money thing because it was their
one of the
first season.
thing it could be. I mean, one of the things I didn't. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the show's expensive. Like the whole bill thing. Like I know a lot of people love that flashback story, which is fine. But since they chose for him to die at the end of that flashback, instead of expanding, they they expanded the backstory. But in the game, her and Bill have great chemistry and like it's very funny interactions, and it's very interesting. All that's gone now because they decided to do a flashback, so they don't have that interaction anymore. So that kind of sucked for the fans
That's interesting.
because they could have still told that backstory, but just have him survive, and then
Yeah.
then off himself, and then you have an extra episode right there, and you get to see that fun
Yeah.
banter that they had and how he's
Yeah.
doing now. But they didn't do that, so I don't know.
Yeah. I think maybe hopefully it was a money thing, you know. I mean, it
But
hit the right chords for someone who didn't play the game. But I mean, like you said, you can't always adapt everything
And
completely,
I
you
would say
know?
they did a good job of introducing characters in one episode and then killing them at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
that's why I feel like it's also rushed at the same time because they did it better than other shows. Like to introduce a character in one episode and have it
It's hard.
resolved, they
Yeah.
did it really
It's
well.
hard.
Like the
They did. That's
preacher
what I
and
was
stuff,
saying. Yeah. I was like, that is
they
hard
did
to
it
do.
really well. But that being
Yeah.
said, like that's one of the things that bothered me. So with the preacher, right? She saves herself. It's very traumatic, and he comes in the last minute and hugs her. Okay, that was great, but you can't just walk out of that town with no consequences. The church was on fire. Nobody came to expect the fire. Like what? That made no
Yeah.
sense to me. In the game,
Yeah.
you can't get away that easy. I'm sorry, but in the
Yeah.
show, everybody just ignores that fire. They're like, "Hello, your church is on fire. You don't see these two strangers there." Like that didn't
Yeah.
make
I
sense
think
to
it's
me.
a hard situation because you don't want to, yeah, they don't, I don't think for what you're saying, then it does sound like they needed more episodes to flesh things out in that way. Um,
I could have used
so
one
I
more
think
episode with the preacher. I mean, he was great.
yeah, no, yeah. So what I'm saying is you're right. That it probably needed more episodes. They probably just didn't have it. And so they focused on the weighty emotional stuff and developing Ellie. Probably their priority was developing Ellie and Joe's relationship and making sure that was believable and that they won't go through is believable. But what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Had they had more time and money, and I don't know if they did, then yeah, let's cut it off. Let's end the episode where she hugs him because you need to make that complete. You don't want to tire the audience, you know. Um, then have another episode where they are getting through, like you said, through the fire and the people of the town. Yeah, I think to make that those steps, like you said, believable. Yeah, I guess they needed more. I guess they focused more on. I'm assuming they focused more um, on the important stuff because they probably didn't have. I mean, I think initially they didn't even know if they would get another season, right?
I don't know because the creator did Chernobyl, so he has high weight in HBO, and it's a big
Yeah,
franchise. But I don't know. I'm sure that but I'm sure the show was super expensive, so they probably did have to cut budget.
yeah.
Fun fact: so the preacher's
Hopefully
right hand
next
man,
season. Huh?
the preacher's right hand man.
Oh yeah,
He was
Joe,
Joe.
right?
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
Joe. And then Ashley Johnson, Ellie's mom, was the original Ellie.
Yes.
So all I
Yes.
could hear was
Nice.
Ellie's voice when she was on the bill. It was great to see her. She's obviously she's been in movies, but
Yeah.
it was cool to
Yeah.
see her as the mom.
She plays Mel Gibson's daughter in What Women Want.
Yeah,
I used to be one of my favorite movies.
yeah, she was good in that. And then the funny thing is, she was in the first Avengers movie. I don't remember this, but the
Oh
camera,
no.
the camera sits on her for a good chunk, and I think they originally had more planned for her. And there's so many theories. Why did they focus on Ashley Johnson and Captain America for so long?
Mm,
And everybody had this theory she was going to be this, she'll be that, it's going to be his daughter, blah blah blah, and nothing ever came from it. But they were definitely playing. I
wow.
think there was some behind the scenes stuff. They were definitely playing something for her, and it just didn't fall through.
It just
Because
didn't
if you
happen.
watch it
Oh,
again, she's like the lady in the window, just and it just holds on there just enough to say this might mean something, but then
this means something.
it
And then it
never meant
meant
anything.
nothing.
Then yeah, all right.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens next season. But talking about Marvel, and I know you got topics, but are you getting Marvel fatigue? Do you think that's real? People are saying that.
Yes and no. I mean, the quality hasn't been there, but Feige's already admitted to that, so he's cutting down spin-offs and whatnot, which is what
Which
they
part
need.
did he admit to?
That the shows have been coming out and the movies like it hasn't been complete quality. Especially, I think he's referring more to the shows, but the movies haven't been top notch either. I'm not fatigued, but they haven't been on top of their game either, like the first 10 years. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't think Ant-Man was that great. I don't think their TV shows, like he admitted to, are that great, other than
Yeah.
Loki.
Yeah. Loki's amazing. And they better keep that shit amazing. Don't
Yeah,
rush it.
so I think they're gonna refocus, and obviously, I mean, COVID kind of they had a plan, and COVID put a wrench to it. But I think that's
Yeah. But
still, I think that, yeah, I think it's still cop out. Like
yeah,
they,
because COVID actually made shows better
because
because they had more time.
it's known fact that they're filming with unfinished scripts and just trying to figure out,
Yeah.
okay, let's do it this way, let's do this way. It's sloppy.
Right.
They didn't
Yeah. They're
they need to
doing
get
what Star Wars was doing,
yeah. Which
rushing content out.
Star Wars also announced the same thing. I didn't put them on here, but they canceled a lot of stuff. They canceled a lot of stuff that they have creators. They're scaling back as well.
What? What are they
They're
canceling?
they're reevaluating what they want to do and to keep it a higher quality.
Are you watching
Uh,
Mandalorian?
yeah, and that's just been top
That's
notch.
yeah. I was gonna say that shit's fucking awesome. If you want to talk about
Especially
that, I have a prop I want to use. Can you hear me?
yeah, Bo-Katan. You look more like the other girl though.
Which one?
The one that forges the metals, the leader.
Oh yeah.
There.
This season has been amazing. Amazing.
It's been really good. I was watching it yesterday, the last episode, and man, the sound quality, like it's like watching a damn movie, and like
Yes,
the
thank you.
visuals. But then I
Yeah,
was then I
right?
was just but then I was disappointed because they focused on that long story about the scientists and that
I
chick's
liked it
revenge.
though.
It was good, but
Yeah.
it's like it went on a little long, and it was like just after we got that great action scene, I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, but it was like we said about The Last of Us,
Mhm.
when you introduce new characters in a whole little vignette and you make it good, I was like, fuck,
Just a
they're
little too
good.
long outside of the story. I wish they told that story, but had a little of the Mandalorian in between, instead of waiting.
Yeah,
But
I loved it.
did you recognize the chick that tricked them?
Yeah, apparently she was in the other episode and working for Gideon, right?
Oh
Moth
no,
Gideon.
I assumed she was, but no, she was an Ant-Man. She was that
She
tough
was?
girl. She was a tough girl. That buff tough girl that they meet in the quantum realm.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh dang, she was good.
Yeah,
She's good.
she's did you watch Agent of Shield?
No, was she in that?
She was a background character, but one of the few background characters that actually survives. He's not one of those beloved characters that are not really in the part of the main cast, but they interact with the main
Yeah,
cast.
yeah.
She's like Wedge from Star Wars. She survives all this bullshit that they go through the original series. I was like, oh, she's pretty cool. She was in the zombie Z Nation too. So
Damn.
she's always been this badass background character. Yeah, but now
Whoa.
she's finally coming up with Ant-Man and
Yeah.
then this. So I'm very happy for
I
her.
was like, I was like, how did they find this girl? She came out
She's
of
been
nowhere.
around,
And she's
and
so good, but she's
she's
been around.
getting
I didn't
buff as hell.
realize.
She's getting buff as
Dang.
hell too.
And the thing is, look at that moral question there too. Like, is what she did right? In a sense, it felt wrong, but then it was like, initially it felt wrong, and then when I thought about it, it was like, well, he's trying to create cloning
He's
capabilities.
well, first of all, she's the one that egged him on to do it, so I don't know what you mean by that.
Yeah, that part was wrong to like to get him to trick him into doing that, and I think she feels righteous, right? But my point is that what he's doing only like he was torturing Grogu. He was um instrumental in
I
possibly
don't.
bringing back Palpatine, isn't he?
First of all, I don't know what her tier motives is, but it was definitely some sort of revenge. It has nothing to do with that.
I don't know if it's revenge as much. Oh,
Nah,
it
it
could be.
was.
It could be. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, what if they turned her so much, and now she's righteously fighting for this team in the same using the same methods that she used for the Empire? You know what I
I
mean?
don't think so.
Well, I found it interesting. We don't know what she's thinking. The thing is, she hasn't said anything. You know?
She was looking like a bitch the whole time. She said him. First of all, the cloning that he wants to do is to like recreate organs and stuff like that to save people. He's not trying to fucking do the stuff that the Empire made him do. He's
Right,
didn't he
but
say didn't he help the Mandalorian escape with Grogu? You're saying he tortured Grogu, but he didn't he
he
remember
did torture Grogu, but he
yeah,
felt
but
bad about it. Yes.
exactly he also helped them. So it's like, come on.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
it's
maybe
it's
you're
like
right. I guess
it's
I
like
was just hoping.
Einstein trying to escape Nazi Germany. It's like it's not much you can do until you get out.
Yeah, I guess I was just hoping it's more deep than that because she goes through the mind flayer too, and her mind gets switched. So I just felt like maybe she's righteously seeing
Well,
something.
first of all, she didn't use it in a safe capacity. She might have fucked up his mind permanently. If she did
Right, but
there
what if she thinks that that's the right thing to do,
to
you
fuck up his
know?
mind permanently,
Because he's a liability.
that's not her choice
I'm
to
saying,
make.
what if it's
That's
not? That's what I'm
like
saying. What if
Dexter
she's
shit.
so righteous? Exactly. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then she needs to be put down.
Probably. Yeah. But it was an interesting. I thought it was an interesting choice. It wasn't straight up like I don't know. It was just interesting to me because he is potentially why Palpatine comes back. You know.
I think he in the movies he had it set up a while. I mean, the technology is already set up. So I mean, he would be the inventor, but it's not like he personally brought him back or
Yeah. I
anything.
mean, the
It's I mean, the
Camino was
Camino.
already coming.
In
Yeah.
fact, it might have
Camino.
been the Caminos that actually did it anyway. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, he's not even the creator because he uses research from Camino, so he's just like redoing their work or something. I don't know.
So then is the idea that she hasn't changed? I guess.
I don't know.
What do you
They
think?
didn't give us enough to know what's up with
Yeah. I
her.
guess that's what. I guess that's what was interesting is that we don't know her motives really.
Yeah.
I
I
found it
mean,
interesting. Very good.
he was really trying to change, and he didn't want to break the rules. She's the one that egged him on. So
Yeah, but maybe
I don't
she
know what her
saw it.
motives are.
Yeah,
Thought maybe I feel like maybe it's some sort of he did something to her family member, something, some sort of revenge. That's how I feel, but I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, probably because she did say I had no choice
I mean,
when
if
he
she
says,
for all we know, the Empire told her to do it. I mean, I don't know her motives.
yeah. She's interesting. She's interesting.
All right, let's get to
She
the
played it well.
recommendations. She did.
She played it well. All
Oh,
right, now I'm
this is
seeing.
not the way. You're outcast. You're apostate now. All right, let's get recommendations. Have you seen Barry and HBO?
Barry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love Barry.
yeah, Barry. Season 2 is some of the best TV I've ever seen.
Oh,
I didn't love season 3, but season 2 was fucking phenomenal.
it was phenomenal.
So April 16th, season 4 is coming. That's my recommendation. Watch Barry. It's really good. It got Dexter comparisons, but they're really completely different. Um,
It definitely has Dexter vibes, but it's more of a
mm.
comedy. So a dark I mean, I guess Dexter was a dark comedy too. But I don't know.
I don't say it's more of a dramedy. It gets
It's a dramedy.
season
Yeah, it's a
2 is the
dramedy. There
funniest,
you
but
go, dramedy. Yeah.
yeah, it's a drama. I mean, season 2 is the funniest, but season 3 was barely funny. It was just like a real story
What
at
about
that
his
point.
girlfriend though? Her acting is so good.
Yeah,
I'm
she's
just like, who
phenomenal.
is
She's
this
a bitch,
actress? She's phenomenal. You know, she's a bitch, but I'm just like, damn, she's great.
yeah,
And then she
she's
becomes
really good.
such a bitch in season 3. I was like, oh my god. When
That,
she takes the idea from her assistant, I
yeah,
guess, or
I
whatever.
love her assistant too because she was in the good place.
She
We're
was in a
talking
good
about
place.
the good
Yeah.
place. I love her. Um,
Yeah.
Sometimes watching like the first season and well, all the seasons, like I wonder if he just made this show to show he could be he's an actor, like because it's about a hitman being an actor, so he has to do acting scenes and like he does really good in those scenes. And then on top of like not supposed to be good, like not like it's just all these layers of being an actor doing
Yeah.
these scenes. Like I wonder if he just wanted to show off, like, hey, I'm not just a comedian, I am an actor. It's kind of funny because he does great and like he does really good intense scenes, and they say comedians become the best drama actors. So I don't know.
Actually, I learned from that writing when he has that, because like what we were talking about, making things powerful with such a short amount of time, when he's about to kill the father of the son he killed, and they're in that car, remember? I don't know if you remember. And Barry's in the back, the father's in the front. The father's looking for him because he knows Barry killed his son. And they just have this moment, and he's like explaining what it's like to have a child in one non-traditional moment. Like everybody says, oh, they're everything, they change your life, they make you realize what love is, all the things we've heard before. But he took a moment to describe a moment of when his son would come to bed early in the morning and they would talk, and like those, like it was just so uniquely beautiful the way he described having a child. It informed me in my writing when I was trying to write Yonatan and describe motherhood. I didn't want to just say what everybody says. Like I tried to find a different way and find a story. Like the writing that they do in Barry is just so good. And it's
Yeah,
a
that
and
was a
like you said,
good.
it's a dramedy.
Barry wasn't about to kill him though. Barry was dying, and
Barry
the
was dying. Yeah, is that
father
what it
was
was?
the father was debating if he was going to kill him or whatnot. He even drove him to the
Right.
hospital, but didn't put him inside, and he decided to kill
Okay,
himself. Yeah,
that's what it was. I didn't remember what the result was. I just remember how beautiful they wrote that scene, because I know I forget the actor's name. He's a co-writer on it. I think it's very hard to like find unique ways to describe having a kid and losing a kid, and he did. I think they did that so well. So yeah, it's a good show, a good recommendation.
and what do you recommend?
I recommend. I'm ready today for this one, and I've mentioned it before. RRR.
Oh, okay.
I watched it. I watched it at the Alamo Draft House. So I had started it like a few weeks ago, and I started it I think at midnight, and I fall asleep early, so I didn't really watch it. I finally got to see it at the Alamo, and it's not silly. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Like I will watch it over and over and over again. And the song that won an Oscar, and I'm glad the Oscars are doing better. Part of why I don't watch it is because I don't think I think the films that get nominated sometimes is just like a popularity contest or whoever had the best marketing campaign. But now I
Hardly.
feel like
It's
they're
all been indie films. That's why nobody watches it.
it's all been indie films.
Yeah, that's why nobody
I don't know.
watches
I'm
it.
not that into Oscars. I don't know. I don't know about that. Anyway, I've seen cases where I'm like, I saw a better movie that was the same concept and they didn't win. So I don't know. You're saying indie, but like A24, yeah, it's indie, but everybody knows A24 and Focus Features. That's but done by Universal, and like they're indie, but then once they get bought by a big studio, they have all the money gets spent in marketing. So you're right, they're indie, but
A24,
then
don't they
if
mostly make
somebody,
horror movies?
yeah, but I'm just saying they're like Get Out. I'm just saying these films, yeah, they start out as indie, but if a big company buys them and they get a lot of marketing money, like for example, um, Sing Street, that came out the same year that La La Land did. It should have been nominated. Like Sing Street is all original music. It's catchy. I don't know if you've seen Sing Street, because I will put that as a recommendation
It says A24 is
next.
still a private company.
Okay, but I'm just using that as an example. That's not really my point. You're saying indie, but these indie films do
Just say
get
it is a small film, just like The Whale this year.
Yeah, who
Typical type
directed
of
it?
film.
Who directed
Typical
The
type
Whale?
of film that gets
Darren
nominated.
Aronofsky.
Ugh, I
Uh,
can't stand it. No one in the movie probably sucks balls.
Actually, it's really good. Jonathan
I heard
loved
it.
it.
I heard it. Yeah, he loves Darren Aronofsky.
I know.
I always hear it's a bad movie, just a good performance. That's what I always
Well,
hear about The
anyway,
Whale.
my point is that I feel like I'm actually seeing films get nominated that not that win that we like. We Everything Everywhere at Once
That's an
would never have won
A24
back in the
movie, by
day.
the way.
Is it?
Yes, it
Is
is. It
okay? That's what I'm
is.
saying. Okay. My point exactly. But
And it is an indie film.
exactly, that's my point exactly. But that one was really good. So I
Yeah.
feel like they're
Yeah,
doing better that film.
this year I actually did like the nominations and how they
That's
had
what I'm
Harrison
saying.
Ford give award to Q or Quan, whatever his
He
name. Short round.
he
he
wait,
Quan.
Quan. Yeah, he.
They actually were smart this year.
Yeah. I'm saying it's getting better, and I feel like they're actually films that are good. And our song, not to legit, is so good. It makes more sense when you watch the movie, but it's beautiful. I highly recommend it. It is like I will watch it over and over again. It's 100% a classic. It's deep. It's actually a deep story. If you like Quentin Tarantino films, if you like John Wick, you will love this. Like it's high action. It looks cheesy. I get it because I thought that too, but actually, it's just not marketed well. It's really good. The acting is phenomenal,
I
and
don't know.
it
I saw
hits
that
you.
tiger scene. It was awful.
I know. So don't let that get to you. I saw that too, believe me. But I was like, why is everybody talking about this? You know, everybody's talking about it. I know you know that. So it's just like, I'll give it a chance because everybody seems to love it, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, people love
So
it.
people love it. So I was just like, I'll give it a chance because believe me, I thought the same thing. I don't really like the trailer, and some of the scenes seem silly, but when I watched it, I was like, oh shit, this is powerful. Like maybe they need a better trailer editor. I don't know, but I promise you, as soon as you watch it, the first like few minutes in, you're into it. It's good right away. And those two actors, and the fact that it's 3 hours is because they took their time with the story, and it was powerful, and the beats were great. Like it's not just silly. It is silly in the way Kill Bill is. Like I would akin it to that. I would akin it to like a maybe a Drunken Dragon or whatever that movie is called. Like when you see these high
Drunken
intensity
Dragon?
fight.
Crouching
What is
Tiger,
that?
Hidden Dragon? Or Drunken Master?
No, Drunken Master. There you go, Drunken Master. Where you see these high, fight scenes that don't make sense, but they're beautiful. They're executed well, and the characters carry it along, and the story is powerful. And there's silly moments, right? It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. It's so good. Like I promise you, you would love it. It's good,
All right.
and anyone who watches it will love it.
Time to wrap up. Go back to the movies. Come back to the
Yes, go back
podcast.
to the movies.
I
Come
gotta
back
go.
to the podcast. Cheers.
Yes. The hell's
Padme
that?
Amidala says
Oh,
cheers.
she look hella racist.
I,
It's funny because I'm watching a period K drama piece, and they look just like that statue. They look like Amidala.
really?
Yes, she has like a headpiece just like that. It's black. It's very similar in this, but it's black. They're Korean though, not Chinese, because I'm pretty sure it's based on Chinese. But anyways, back to the podcast. Adios. Bye.
Bye.